How's it going, everyone? This is Jason Navarro. You're listening to Tongues Out Podcast. And let's just jump right into today's Friday the 13th episode. No, but seriously, it's a spooky day today where all this bad stuff is supposed to happen. And actually, in the spirit of a day like Friday the 13th, which, by the way, I'm not a superstitious person whatsoever. I'll walk under any batch of ladders, break some mirrors, spill some salt. What else? Let a black cat cross the road in front of you. What's another bad superstitious thing that you're not supposed to do? I can't think of anything else, but I'll do a million of those things. I have done a few of those, like stacked up against one another to see how bad of luck I could have on that day, and of course, nothing happens. But on the same token, I don't believe in like four leaf clover. Like, here's my good luck charm and everything of that nature. I just think people just can be lucky. People can be unlucky. And there's absolutely nothing you could do to control those things because you're not that powerful of an individual. So stop giving yourself that much credit. But anyways, in the memory of a day like Friday the 13th, excuse me. Let's talk about something that I cannot believe in the last week I've noticed, and it's kind of scary in a sense that I don't know where this is going to go. Essentially, like, I knew it was going to be bad, but I just didn't know how bad it was going to be. But if you guess where I'm going with this, congratulations. To those that didn't guess, we're going to talk about COVID-19 and the winter. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this today. It's pretty late. I've had a pretty exhausting day, but essentially, I cannot believe that I know 6 people personally, close friends of mine, 6 in the last week that have contracted COVID-19. And during the summer and during like the big influx of like when this pandemic was going on, I did not notice that many people. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 people that got COVID, but 6 people in a week that I personally know, that's just scary because that lets me know that and I know these people and I know how they're living their life. They're living it as if nothing's out there. They're just going about their day like normal, partying, going to clubs, going to bars. And what's scary is that a lot of people are doing that now. And I completely understand if like you are required to go out in public for work or for necessities. Like, if you need to, and there's a difference between a need and a want. And if you need, then it makes sense. You have to kind of navigate this as best you can, maintain some distance, and wear a mask. But ultimately, it's a numbers game. Eventually, you're probably going to catch it, and it's scary to think about that. But to these people that are just going out there, just choosing to live their life the way that they are without any, just carefree and not taking the necessary precautions, which I know they're not. To those people, I don't even know what to say to them. And I'm in a difficult position where like these are like close friends of mine, like not like super super close friends, but they're like friends. Like, I've known them for a long time. And like when I hear that they caught COVID but I know the kind of lifestyle that they have, I don't know what to say to them. Because truthfully, what I want to say to them, and if any of them are listening to this podcast, I would want to tell you, like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot and you deserve every second of whatever suffering you're going through at the moment. But it's not about them that I'm worried about. It's about the people that they can come into contact with, because all of the friends that I know so far have recovered from it or are in the process of recovering. They haven't had any kind of like bad cases with COVID. But I don't know the type of people that those people are surrounding themselves with. I'm not there contact tracing every single individual that they're around. And I know some of the people that they do socialize with are not in the best health. And so I just think it's like so wrong. This is like the worst thing to be careless about. They're like, and I mean, I was there. I know what that's like to like not give 2 cents about like your personal your self perseverance and making sure that you're not gonna like die from catching something. I've been on that bandwagon for a long time where like your life's too short. You should do whatever you can to enjoy as much of your life as possible and have as much fun as you want to have. But the thing is that your fun with this can directly influence other people's lives and really cause them a lot of harm. And you might not realize it until it's too late, until they've caught it. And you know, deep down, I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to live with that. But some people just are able to live with those things because they'll tell themselves, like, oh, it wasn't me that gave it to them. It was probably someone else. Oh, they were probably going to catch it eventually. Just don't beat yourself up about it. But no, seriously, you should. You should beat yourself up about it because if you're going out there and doing whatever you want, that's one thing. Like, no one can fault you for it. People can envy it, could be jealous about it, whatever, whatever. But as long as you're not hurting anyone or influencing other people in a negative way, who gives 2 cents whatever someone thinks about when it comes to like you pursuing things that make you happy? But at the end, if this choice that you're making or these choices that you're making can impact other people in a negative way, your your approach to this is completely wrong. And I don't know. I'm glad that I've been doing everything I need to do to kind of, and some people have told me like I'm paranoid. Some people tell me like, hey, like when do you think you're gonna ever go out and go back to your life that you had before? Or like, how long do you think you can do whatever you're doing right now to stay safe? And my response is I don't know. Like ultimately, I feel like I'm mentally prepared for this pandemic to go on until 2022, and I feel like I can continue doing the lifestyle that I've been doing right now. You know, I can remain fit. I have all my loved ones with me, and I can have plenty of fun in this big house that I'm in. And luckily, I can find enjoyment in things in this personal space that I have, which is great. And so I'm not in a position where I really have to stress out about things outside of like not being able to see certain people and socialize. But I wasn't already doing that anyways once I had my daughter. Like I kind of gave up on all of those things because I told myself like my daughter was the most important thing ever. But I did say that as she got older, I would be more welcome to allowing certain people that I know that are good influences around my daughter to come by and we could socialize with them as long as they were open to it as well. Because I know it could be foreign for some people that don't, especially if they don't have kids, to kind of get involved with someone, a friend of yours, an existing friend that just became a new parent, and you're trying to like navigate that and be courteous. And so I never want to put that pressure on a lot of my friends. I understand how weird that can be, but like this pandemic now stops all that, and I'm okay with that. If these these people, if they're that close of friends, we're staying in touch. We'll eventually see each other face to face one day. And I know it bothers some friends of mine that we just can't hang out and do things like we used to be able to do back in the day. But there's just different times, and I'm trying to be courteous to not just myself, but and not to just my family, but other people that I could potentially come into contact with. And I don't socialize that much, and I barely go out unless I really, really need to for work purposes. But I mean, I've left my house for work maybe 4 or 5 times, and I don't know. It just bothers me so much that I see these other people just going out there and just at the end, like it's easy for me to write off them, to write them off and be like, look, ultimately you're a moron. Like you deserve to have whatever symptoms you're having. And again, this is for people that are not going out because they need to go out. Like again, for necessities, for doctor's visits, for care or for work. If you really need to come by for wealth at the moment, it's pretty difficult to, sustain yourself because there's not that much work out there. And if you don't have the ability to work from home, I completely understand. Like, it's a difficult time to navigate right now. But if that's not your position, which I know for these six people, it's not, they just chose to just go out and party and socialize with a ton of people all the time. They're stupid. But then I can't tell them that because ultimately I'm afraid now for the people that they socialize with and those people who might not inadvertently be in a position where they feel like they're doing anything wrong, in a sense that they're probably going about their day doing their necessities and are trying to be as precautious as possible. But now because you got infected and somehow they allow you to be a part of their social circle, now you infect them. When they tried to take every necessary precaution up to a certain point, now they're going to get infected as well. I mean, our governor is Elon Musk supposedly is contracted it. Of course, we had like our president a lot, and no one's safe. Honestly, all of these people, all of these leaders, they're contracting the disease, and so, like my stepfather's in that category. My mom is trying to do her best to, um, not socialize and not be around people, but my stepfather is not doing the proper steps to keep himself safe and to keep those people around him safe as well. And I don't think that's right. Personally, I don't think, um, I think it's dangerous for himself because he's in a age bracket, which is very risky for him. He has certain he has certain things that he does that puts him at a higher risk of category for catching the disease, or not catching it, but to, higher risk of like having the disease and what it can do to him. And he's being part of that same category of people that I know that personally have contracted it. And my family lives in a small retirement town, and not many people go out there, but that's not true either because it's a very popular, like not many people live there, but a lot of people go there for tourism because of a very popular beach in Florida. And I mean, it just takes one person really to infect you. And then at that point, what do you do? And then my mom, who's doing her best to try to stay as safe as possible, she's put in a position where ultimately she could be catching the disease when she's not really trying to catch it. And so it hits home, and that's like my personal family. And I know a lot of other people are going through the same situation where their significant others are putting themselves at risk, and the other loved one is not wanting to risk catching this disease, and there's nothing they can do about it. You can't control someone, and you don't want to be in an arguments with people, especially during a difficult time period. So it's like really hard to navigate that, especially when someone's so stubborn. But I don't know. To me, it's very selfish though. Like if that's the type of person that you are, and you can't stop doing things that aren't really a necessity only because you want to keep doing them and not take into account how that can impact the people closest to you, that's really being selfish. And trust me, I've been in that position. I know what that's like. I have been a selfish person for, I mean, shoot, when I first moved to Las Vegas, I was very selfish. Like all the partying I did and everything of that nature, it really put a hinder between me and my wife. And clearly I wasn't putting a lot of focus into her. I was putting a lot more focus in my own personal enjoyment and making wealth. And those were honestly some of the worst years of my life, to be honest. And now some of my best moments are those moments where I share all the time I can with her and share all this bonding and developing with our daughter. And yeah, I had some good memories back then, but they're always tarnished with this like idea that I was such a selfish person. Reflecting on them now, like there are a lot of funny stories, and I would love to tell and share a lot of them. But at the same time, I always feel dirty when I think about those times because I feel like I was a different person. I was a very selfish person, and I would never want to do that again. I realize now like how bad it is, and I mean, I knew it then, and it took me a while to finally learn that it was really tarnishing everything about it was tarnishing my personal health and then the health of everyone around me that cared about me. And so I'm glad I left that space and I left that industry. And it sucks because like my family works in the hospitality industry. That's like their profession. My brother in New Zealand works in that industry. My stepfather owns multiple bars in my hometown. And so that's kind of lifestyle that they're in as well. And it's really not conducive during a time period like this. But I mean, you can only talk to them so much, but they're very stubborn individuals. But I hope they listen to this podcast and understand my standpoint on it, because I don't think that it's right that they're doing those things, and they don't need to. They don't. I mean, my brother it's difficult for him in a different country to try to find work, especially when he needs work sponsorship to be living in that country. So I can give him kind of a pass on that. And New Zealand is actually one of the safest countries when it comes to COVID. So I can say that it's fine for him to be in that industry. But with my stepfather, he has no excuse to be out and about. Like it's his own businesses, and he's got a ton of management that can manage those properties. It's really on him to kind of enjoy retirement and just enjoy life, and not really be around and risking himself for catching this disease, or potentially risking other people's lives as well. But I mean, who knows? It's just an interesting time for sure. And I understand it's like, it's difficult to just be locked up indoors all the time. It's easy for me because I was introverted for such a long time, and I have ways to keep myself busy. But for others, I know it can be definitely difficult, especially if you've never had that kind of lifestyle. But I mean, if you're not offended by things like, oh, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, like if that offends you, then don't let it offend you, and try to learn to navigate a life where you're living indoors now. And that's not just talking about my personal family, but anyone. It's like, if you don't like that saying, then learn the skill sets to be able to stay indoors. And there's plenty of things. We live in a time period now where there's so much enjoyment you can get from living in your own home. Honestly, there's so much, especially like if you have like pools. Like I don't even have a pool. I wish I had a pool. But like I know people that have like really nice houses, like really nice pools. Like invite just like people that you can trust, and have like a small social circle of people that that aren't going to be going about and mingling with other people, and create a pact. And that would be awesome. That's what I would be doing right now. It's like having that kind of relationship. I know my best friends would have been totally down for that. Like if I wasn't a parent, that's what I would have done. I would have been like, hey, like my closest friends, let's all agree to, only socialize with each other and really minimize our time going out and about. And let's just have fun just hanging out with each other. I don't see why that's so difficult for a lot of people to do those things, but who knows? I don't know. It's very difficult for me to understand like these challenges for some people, but I just hope for the best for those that are actually trying to do their best, but happen to just allow people in their lives that are not respecting themselves or respecting the people around them. And to those, I would tell you, like, hey, try to minimize as much time as possible with those people, because clearly if they don't care about themselves, they're not going to care about you. And it's the truth. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to today's podcast, and I will catch you guys mañana. Peace.